Blirt TV. We gon' run it. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Schmatty here, back with another episode. Another day closer to the regular season. We got to start getting these teams in, man. We got to get these updates, you know? So we starting today off with the Chargers. Younger brother Jim Harbaugh taking over the Chargers. I keep seeing on ESPN, they keep talking about him at Michigan. He left Michigan 2 years ago. Leave that stuff in the past, man. But coming into the 2025 season for the Los Angeles Chargers, questions, yes, but it's more so I want to see the statement of the Los Angeles Chargers. What statements do they want to show coming into this season? What do you think? You think that they don't want to show that they're primed for a better year? I mean, they made the playoffs last year. My notes on here say they were 11-6, then went to the playoffs and lost to the Texans in a game that was not even competitive. When I say not competitive, I mean Ladd McConkey was the only wide receiver, skilled position that showed up. Defense, I mean, once you see that your offense only has one player showing up and the defense got to do all the work, what are we going to do? They gave up 32 points and they scored 12. That's rough going into last season, but here's the bonus part. It was year one of Jim Harbaugh. Year one of Jim Harbaugh to make it to the playoffs already shows improvement. So let's look into these stats. Let's see what the stats got to say. What do y'all think the stats are going to say? Because I've been hearing a lot of Justin Herbert top 10 talk. So these stats come out and say that their defense was the number one defense when it came to giving up points. Their offense was 11th. Now, 11th ranked offense, first ranked defense when it came to points. I mean, that's impressive. That is impressive in itself. And when you look at year one of Harbaugh, what the hell can we expect for year two? That's your first year. That's what you come out here doing. But the thing is with the Chargers, they were always talented. So all they needed was that person to come in and give the culture the change that it needed to kind of get these guys back in form. I feel like we've seen the Chargers have a top defense before with what was the coach's name? Brandon Staley. Yeah, they had a couple good defensive years with Brandon Staley, and offensively, I'm pretty sure they had a 2000. In the past, y'all had some good years, but the culture still wasn't right. I remember Austin Eckler had that 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard receiving. You guys had Mike Williams with Keenan Allen. Like, those years, the team was flowing, but it may have been the culture that probably wasn't right where you guys couldn't take the next step. Now with Jim Harbaugh, a culture changer, we know he's changing the culture. We can turn our backs on the Chargers and know the culture is changing over there. So whatever Harbaugh is doing going into year two, we're expecting more from a team that I personally believe. I don't know what you guys believe about the Chargers. They have talent. They have talent. I know Justin Herbert is a talented quarterback. Not in my top 10 because he still has work to do, still has progressions to make, still has tiers of mentality that he has to surpass. But Justin Herbert is a talented quarterback. And they went out, and by they I mean the Chargers general manager, coaches went out and kind of aided. They're aiding right now. They're doing everything they can to help Justin Herbert build a team. They already, you heard it, number one defense when it came to points. Could they get better when it comes to yards? They were 11th when it came to giving up yards. So they're in the top. They're a top-tier defense already. Now they just need to weaponize the offense. And by weaponize, I mean give Justin Herbert more targets to throw to. So let's look into what Justin Herbert had last year with departures. Justin Herbert lost J.K. Dobbins, who I'm wishing the best for J.K. Dobbins. Those Achilles tears were horrible, but to see him go into a system that fed him and watched what J.K. Dobbins did, I'm wishing him the best. But they lost more defensively than they did offensively, with a defense that was already number one and an offense that was lacking. The offense was lacking when it comes to weapons. They're lacking. They tried, but the thing is, with the draft and free agents and people that you bring in that you hope can succeed, it's hit or miss. You never know. You find out their mentality on game day. Training camp, practice, I get all that. But there's real mentalities that show on game day that you won't see until it's game day. So when it comes to the departures of J.K. Dobbins, they lost wide receiver Josh Palmer, got a nice little bag in Buffalo. Defensively, losing Joey Bosa, opposite of Khalil Mack, losing Poona Ford, sleeper defensive lineman. When I watch the Chargers, whenever I watch Poona Ford, I'm like, this defensive tackle makes plays. He needs to be in the NFL, makes plays. Lost Morgan Fox, lost 3 cornerbacks, Eli Apple, Christian Fulton, and Asante Samuel Jr., as well as safety Marcus May. Now, I talked about the Dolphins, and the Dolphins were kind of in the same scenario where they lost the defensive backs, but they still had a veteran in that defensive secondary. The Dolphins traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick, and the Chargers don't need a trade because they already have one of the best safeties in Mr. Derwin. So when it comes to what this defense can expect in this year, because 3 cornerbacks and a safety, it's revamping the defense, it seems, but it's not in the revamp that you may think. When you have a leader like a James Derwin, when you have a leader like a Minkah Fitzpatrick, their job, as well as playing their position, is to make sure everybody is elevating in their roles as well. They play the position at a high level. It's their job to get everybody else to play up to their levels, up to their expectations. It's the thing that different people on a team can bring. That is that superstar elite trait. When you watch teams, and you watch even on this team, Jim Harbaugh walks on this team in year 1, number 1 defense. He didn't even pick the guys that he had on. He's now picking the guys that he wants on this team. He wasn't even picking the guys before. And now he's out here picking, and he's scheming, and he's like, we're going to do this. Before, he just had a game plan. All right, this is my game plan, and this is what we're going to try to do year 1, but we're really going to get into it year 2. I'm interested to see what he's going to do year 2. So looking at what they went out and got, and as additions, free agency additions, Najee Harris at running back from Pittsburgh, Nyheim Hines at running back. 2 running backs, 2 different skill sets, can run the ball with Najee, can catch the ball with Hines. Najee can make some catches as well. Listen, they know what they want. Now it's time to see if they're going to be able to weaponize the offense. 2 running backs, not too bad. Going to try to make up for, I believe it was Gus Edwards and J.K. Not too bad. Now, when it comes to the running game, you need to have the offensive lineman. They went out and got a Super Bowl champion in Mekhi Becton. Shout out to Mekhi. Thanks for the chip. Big ticket. Other positions that they went out and got in free agency: tight end Tyler Conklin from the Jets. So when it comes to weaponizing the offense so far, they've went out and got 2 running backs and a tight end. Personally, nobody is of that tier where I'm saying this is a game changer. And when we'll see with the rookies, because they also went out and drafted some guys. Now let's get to the draft. They went out and drafted another running back. So that's Najee Harris, Nyheim Hines, and went out and got Omari Hampton. 3 running backs. So weaponize the running back position. Somebody come out here and make a play, and you're going to get your chances out there. But the position that the Chargers probably needed to weaponize the most was that wide receiver position. I don't know these 2 wide receivers that they drafted, but they drafted 2. They signed Keenan Allen back. I didn't add Keenan Allen in this because I had this kind of prepared earlier before Keenan Allen was signed. But Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey now are the biggest weapons they have on their offense. One of the running backs will show, and he will be allowed to be that head of the horse's tail, if you want to say. But Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen, kind of same position types, kind of they're kind of the same player to me. I get the height difference, but Keenan Allen likes to play in the slot. And I'm a fan of Ladd McConkey. And I watched that playoff game last year, and I was going to get to this. The kid played well. The kid balled out. He's everything people said that he was. But when it comes to weaponizing this offense now, does Keenan Allen help Ladd McConkey in the position of these guys can move like chess pieces anywhere on the board? Can they do that? Are they allowed to do that? Are they allowed to move like a queen? Or do they have to move? Keenan has to play in the slot, so Ladd has to go outside. Ladd can't play in the slot because Keenan's in the slot. I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I do think with thinking about the Rams and thinking about what happened with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, and it looked like a good mix at first, but when you really look at it, it wasn't as great as of a mix as I think everybody hoped it would be. I think this Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey, it really more so depends on who's going to be that other outside guy. And that's where we come to the drafts. They drafted 2 wide receivers, Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith. And these 2 guys have been in competition with Mr. Quentin Johnson since they got on the team, since camp started. And I think this is probably the biggest battle when it comes to the offseason for the Chargers. Who is going to actually be that guy that can help out Ladd McConkey? Because last year in the playoffs, everybody earned a certain level of respect for Ladd McConkey because Justin Herbert had nobody else to throw the ball to in the playoffs. It was suffocating. It was the Texans, I believe, and the Texans suffocated those other wide receivers, Mr. Quentin Johnson included. So, Mr. Quentin Johnson, please come front and center. Front and center. The Chargers have now drafted 2 wide receivers to compete with you for the starting position. You last year did not have a good showing. You may have had the best preseason you've ever had, the best camp you ever had, the best workouts you ever had. But I'm not even a Chargers fan, and I'm talking to you like as if I was. I'm a fan of football players, so I'm going to say to you, I'm just going to keep it as real as I can. Your job is on the line. Your job is on the line. You're a first-round pick. They picked you to be the guy, create separation, make tough catches. First-round picks are supposed to be those guys. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Now, do some guys fall off and are not capable of that first-round talent? Yes, but when it comes to you, you still have time. You still have a chance. And these guys came in to compete with you, and I think the biggest sign of doubt from the team was that they went out and got Keenan Allen. So I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Quentin Johnson. On game day, you need to show who Quentin Johnson is. I think it's bigger than the secondary with you guys. I think it's bigger than Justin Herbert's connection with Ladd McConkey and how the wide receivers. The biggest, how do I say this? You will be the number 2 for the Los Angeles Chargers. Will determine how far the team could go. I believe Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. I don't believe that with just one wide receiver, or maybe I don't count it as a full core yet. It's not a core. This is not one of the best wide receiving cores in the league that you know that you can get your yards with yet. But I believe that if you or one of the rookies, I'm talking to you, but these rookies come in hungry, bruh. Rookies come in hungry, especially with all the money wide receivers make nowadays. Receivers coming in like, yo, let me get half that. Let me get half of what Chase got. What? Come on, man. Come on. You are a big key or one of these wide receivers, Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith. I'm in fantasy. I'm picking one or all 3 of you guys because you guys are going to be late. But if one of you guys can show up and give these guys a chance, I mean, the Chargers have a legitimate chance to give everybody a run for their money. They have the scheme. They have the culture. We know who the head coach is. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Now, are the players playmakers, or is it time to get new guys to come in? They did the same thing with the secondary. They had a great year, went out and got a whole bunch of new guys. They're going to do the same thing with the offense besides Ladd McConkey. You guys can do it, but if you guys can't, we can find a whole bunch of guys. Whether you guys are good or not, they're going to make their decisions in the back. It's based off what they think. But to give yourself a chance, man, I mean, you guys got to fight for what you want. You got to really want it. And I know it sounds cliche, but how bad do you want it? And that goes to everybody on the Chargers because your coach wants it bad. He will send you to the bench, no questions about it. He wants it bad. And I think the quarterback, the biggest question will be this quarterback. I believe the number 2 wide receivers determines a lot, but I believe Justin Herbert, and I don't even think it's self-inflicted, but Justin Herbert has a lot on his plate. People want to put Justin Herbert in that top 5 conversation because of the talent so bad. They want him in that conversation. And Justin Herbert does his thing. He's not really talking, and I appreciate quarterbacks like that who kind of just, I'm showing up to play football and do my thing. But when it's game day and it's game time, Justin Herbert's going to need to deliver. And he has not delivered yet. I see a lot of people ranking the skills and the talent of Justin Herbert higher than what he's actually achieved in the league. And that's not how you rank people, to be honest, when it comes to the quarterback position. So when it comes to Justin Herbert, there are elevations to the quarterback that you're going to have to become the same level that James Derwin will become for that defense, has become for that defense. You are going to have to make the players around you better. You are going to have to motivate guys to be better than what they were last year, what they were in the past. Justin Herbert is capable, but can they actually do it? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Let's look at the schedule. Let's look at what I thought the Chargers were going to do. And I know I most likely like to try to save it for the end, but I did all that talking. I predicted the Chargers to have a 9-8 season. Jeez. And now, the 2025 predictions for the Los Angeles Chargers. Coming into the season, they've opened up the season with the Kansas City Chiefs. I am giving them a loss versus Kansas City. Next, they played the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm giving them a win. The next week, they play the Denver Broncos. I'm giving them a win. The next week versus the Giants, I will give them a loss on that. Week 5 versus the Commanders, I also give them a loss. Next week, I give them a win versus the Dolphins. I give them a win versus the Colts. I give them a loss versus the Vikings. I give them a win versus the Titans, Steelers, and Jags. Going into their bye week at, 3, 5, 7, and 4. Not too bad. I think Mr. Harbaugh would have a nice little smile on his face if he went into the bye week 7-4, year 2, everybody progressing. But after the bye week, we're prepping for the playoffs. Let's see what they got. So after the bye week, I have the Raiders. I'm giving them a loss versus the Raiders, a loss versus the Eagles, a loss versus the Chiefs, a win at Dallas, a win versus the Texans, and to end the season, a loss versus the Denver Broncos. Is it a tough ending of the schedule? Yes. Are there winnable games on there? Absolutely. So depending on how this team comes out to start the year, winnable games, Giants, Vikings, Colts, Dolphins, and I'm going to throw Kansas City in there because I know Mr. Harbaugh, Mr. Jim Harbaugh, he's not worried about Andy Reid. He's not worried about Patrick Mahomes. Y'all caught him. He knows who he is. He's doing everything he can in that offseason to try to make this team better. Now, will they be better? Only time will tell. Couple more days to the season. Let me know what y'all think. I have them projected at 9-8, ceiling 12-5, and I don't have a floor for the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if they're 9-8, that's pretty much hitting the floor. I don't. Jim Harbaugh has a certain mentality that I feel like if he's going backwards, he's probably beating the crap out of his desk when he goes to his office. He's swinging in the. Jim Harbaugh screws loose with Jim Harbaugh, but that's what makes great football. Great football minds, great football players. So stay tuned to Blirt TV. This was Los Angeles preview to the 2025 season. Out. Blirt TV. We gon' run it.